Hey everybody, I want to talk about the 6 ways your charitable donations could go wrong. That's a problem for a lot of people, and these are some of the common, some more than others, issues that we've seen out there. So, first one is a big one, big as in big donation type issues. The charitable remainder trust can be very popular, especially with 2026 looming and the cutting of the estate tax exemption. So charitable remainder trust, the whole idea is to put assets in there, especially highly appreciated assets. So in this example here, we're going to talk about maybe a rental property. It's highly appreciated. If you sell it, you've got tons of capital gains tax to pay. You can move that to a charitable remainder trust. But the problem is if your intent was to sell it and you already had it under contract when you moved it to the charitable remainder trust in order to avoid the capital gains tax, it's too late. You can't have it under contract first. So in this example, making those mistakes is detrimental. I mean, this is an enormous mistake and will cause a huge amount of taxation that you were hoping to avoid. So make sure you have a good tax advisor helping you out through this process. Don't try to do this stuff on your own. And attorneys aren't tax advisors. Have both. This is a big event. You need to make sure it's done properly. The next one, assuming control over a donor advised fund. Well, you can't control a donor advised fund, right? You're sold on this concept of a donor advised fund. This maybe charitable organization says, hey, we can do this. You can plop the money in, we can invest it, and we can take some of the profits and then use it for charitable activities. Well, you can advise the fund, but you cannot control the fund. Donor advised funds are independent charitable entities that you have no control over. The donated funds are no longer your funds. You can advise, but you have no control. So be careful about your expectations here. Next one, mismanaging retirement account distributions. Look, if you're of required minimum distribution age and at minimum over 70 and a half, okay? So I don't want to confuse somebody who's 30 with an inherited IRA or something like that. Qualified charitable distributions can be extremely handy. So from a planning perspective, you always want to address those qualified charitable distributions first because they qualify as part of your required minimum distribution. They're just not taxable. Okay, but there's a lot of things that I see out there in terms of mistakes. I see people attempt to roll over their required minimum distribution to a Roth account. You can't do that. It's very black and white, right on the IRS website. I've seen people try to do a 60-day rollover, meaning pull out their required distribution, deposit it in their bank account, and then try to redeposit it right back in within a 60-day rollover window because they misinterpreted those rules. You can't do that. And you also cannot take retirement funds and send them directly to a donor advised fund and call that a QCD, a qualified charitable distribution. That is not a qualified charity. So be careful about some of these activities. There's a lot of distribution mistakes that we see in the charitable world. Then there's the qualified charitable distributions doing these wrong. First of all, these funds can never touch your hands. Stop taking money from your IRA, depositing it in your bank account, and writing a check to the charity. If you are over 70 and a half, you should never do that again. You should only call your custodian and say, hey, I want X amount of dollars to go to this charity, and this charity. The custodian then has to cut the check and send it directly to the charity for it to be qualified charitable distributions, where you're able to write them off of your income before you itemize. This is a huge advantage on tax returns. Everybody over 70 and a half should be utilizing this technique. And lack of gift guidance. Okay, so here's a fun one. created a fictitious scenario, but I've heard this class is actually real. So think about this. You're a big donor to a university and you find out that they're going to announce a building in your name. So there's going to be a building on campus in your name. How wonderful is this? And then, again, this is an example. Okay, so then the building gets renamed, the ribbon cutting, everything's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And then the classes that they start putting in that building, the top class is advanced theoretical napping, sleeping your way through college. And and the gut-wrenching blow to your faith in education just wipes all of the luster off of having this building in your name. You can come up with any scenario, but the reality is when you give money, you don't necessarily have control over it. So especially when you're gifting large amounts of money, creating a comprehensive gift agreement that clearly outlines the purpose of the donation and any uses that are prohibited. So make sure that you put some guidance on this and think through some of this. And then the last one, giving to the wrong charity. I want to make sure everybody knows out there that there are a million charities out there, and there are a lot of charities with very similar names, and they all have subsidiaries, and it's a rat's nest of craziness. Okay, so when you are wanting to give to a specific charity, please provide the full legal name, the tax ID, and address whenever possible. Okay, those are the important pieces of that puzzle. Okay, we can't just assume everybody knows exactly where you wanted that money to go. So get specific, have the specific information. All right, I hope that helps. Charitable giving is common out there. Some people want to give all of it. I have clients that literally don't even have any idea where they want their money to go. They're not charitable and they don't have heirs. So picking charities can be very important. You have to put that in front of them and then make sure it goes to the right place. All right. I hope everybody enjoyed this one. I make new videos every week. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, the channel's got over 200 videos. It's active and wonderful and has endless amounts of great information. If you want to talk to me personally, you can always book an appointment on yourinvestmentcounselor.com. You can find more of our education and understanding about our nonprofit side at fpfeaz.org. And our phone number is 800-345-3155. I hope to see you soon. Thanks for joining us. See you next week.